So today we're doing notes 3.1 day 2 and 3.2 day 2. Our first objective is to solve word problems using the addition and subtraction properties of equality. That's what we did on Monday. So to review that, let's go through these warm-ups. Again, I see an equal sign in these, so that means I need to solve an equation. Ellie, what would you do on number 1? I like that idea. And perfect. X equals -8 would be our answer. Alright, number 2. Box my variable, separate my equation. May, what did you do next?
Add 4 on the side.
Add 4, I like it. So you got y equals? +4. Wonderful. Alright, on number 3. Logan, what did you do? How are we going to cancel out a -1? Very good. We would add 1, but if we do it to one side, we also need to do it to the other side. So I'm running out of room down there. So that gives me R equals -1. Beautiful. Questions, concerns? Okay. Alright, so today's lesson, sometimes you have to translate word sentences about numbers into equations. We've done something similar to this before, but we changed them only into expressions. This time we're going to have an equal sign in there. Sometimes you can translate them in order, or you may need to use reverse operations. So we need to write an equation for each word sentence and then solve the equation. The sum of a number and 12 is equal to 78. Kelby, what does the word sum mean? We're doing what operation if we're finding the sum? Addition. Okay, so we know we're adding two things together. Tariana, if I don't know what a number is, what could I use to represent it? N, good, a variable, so we like N, or X. So the sum of a number and 12. So on the other side of my plus sign is going to go the 12 is equal to, that's pretty straightforward, we use an equal sign. Sometimes you will see these where it just says is. You won't see the equal to part. So you have to know that the word is means that we're setting it equal to 78. Alright, so once we have our equation set up, we need to get the variable by itself. We subtract 12 from both sides, and we end up with N equals 66. Fantastic. Alright, let's try another one. If a number is decreased by 5, then the result is 26. Now, if you were paying attention, I think Connie might have given this away. Jaquan, how would you translate that into?
N minus 5 equals 26.
Perfect. Into an equation, it would be N to represent the number, decreased by 5 means minus 5. The result is 26, means it is equal to 26. Just got to take it one step at a time to set it up. Once we've got it set up, we still need to solve it. Jamaro, what would you do to both sides?
Add the 5. Add 5 both sides.
Very good. When we add 5 on both sides, we get n equals 31. All right. Let's see. Keon, what did your group get for the equation on number 3?
X equals -9.
For the equation, not the answer.
Oh.
3 subtract X equals 9.
So Keon told me 3 minus x equals 12. Is that right? Did anybody write a different equation? Deja, what did you write? X minus 3 equals 12. Okay, there's a big difference here because for subtraction, order matters. For addition, it does not matter. But subtraction, it does. And we talked about these problems before. 3 less than a number means the number take away 3. So that is going to be the one we want to use. If that's the equation that we're using, when we go to solve it, Jerry L, what should we do to both sides? Add 3 to both sides. That ends up giving us x equals, anybody? 15. Subtraction order matters, so be careful. If you did not have this written down correctly, make sure you get it corrected. Let's keep going. Our next one, 32 more than a number is -42. Jakeem, what did your group get for the equation?
32 plus n equals -42.
I like it. If you put n plus 32, that would be the same thing. With addition, the order does not matter. Lexi, what did your group do to solve this? Wonderful. Oop, I didn't box in my variable. Box, separate. When we subtract 32 from both sides, what do we get for n? -74. Again, if we've got -42 minus 32, that means we're becoming more negative. If you have a calculator, that's a handy tool to use on this problem. All right, we're going to keep it going. A number increased by 7 is 6. Jamal, what did your group write as the equation?
X plus 7 equals 6.
Works for me. Increased by means we're adding. Shannon, what did your group do to finish solving this?
Alright. -7 on each side.
Okay,
Alright.
so we get x equals
Yeah, 1.
+1 or -1?
Positive 1.
I like the fact that we get a 1 here. However, the 7 is bigger than 6 and it is negative. So our answer in this case is a -1. All right. For these next few problems, you may also need to use drawings to set up an equation and solve for the variable. So it might help us to draw a picture to go along with these problems. Number 6, the sides of a triangle are x, 4, and 4. The perimeter of the triangle is 14. So what we need to do is write an equation for each word sentence. It does not say to solve it on these, so we'll just work on writing an equation. So hopefully we all know that a triangle has 3 sides. So we draw a picture. The sides we would label as x, 4, and 4. It does not matter which sides get labeled what. Then we have to understand what the word perimeter means. Can anyone raise their hand and tell me what that means? Keon?
Is it area? No, it's outside.
It's the outside. So what do we do with the outsides to get perimeter?
Multiply.
Nope. Add them up. Perimeter is like how far you would walk if you walked around the perimeter or the outside of the figure. So we add them all up. X plus 4 plus 4 equals, they said the perimeter is 14. Okay, so if all the directions ask you to do is write an equation, I'm okay if you stop here. If you wanted to, you could combine your like terms. What's 4 plus 4? 8. So x plus 8 equals 14. And on some problems, it might ask you to also solve it. They did not ask for that here, so we'll just leave it alone. If you really want to solve it, you can go for it. Are we ready to move on to number 7? All right, on number 7, this time we have a rectangle. Again, I'm hoping we all know what a rectangle looks like. It's got 4 sides, right angles. The sides of a rectangle are x and x minus 4. Well, that's weird. A rectangle has 4 sides and they only gave me 2 things. What are we going to do, Johan? Very good. The sides across from each other are equal. So if I label this top side x, then this bottom side is also x. If the left side is x minus 4, then the right side is also x minus 4. So we have to know some very, very basic things about some of our shapes. Again, they tell us the perimeter. Perimeter means we add up all the sides. So this time we've got 4 sides. X plus x minus 4 plus x minus 4 equals 87. The perimeter is 87. I dropped my parentheses just because that makes it easier for me to combine like terms. How many x's am I adding together? 4 of them. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, that gives me 4x. Negative 4 combined with a negative 4 is negative 8. Still equals 87. Once again, they did not ask us to solve, so that could be our answer here. Alright, then I'm going to skip ahead to 3.2 day 2 and we will pick up there. For 3.2 day 2, our objective is similar. It is to use multiplication and division properties of equality to solve word problems. So just like on Monday we did addition and subtraction, and yesterday we did multiplication and division, these word problems will use multiplication and division. Alright, on our warm-ups, the first one. Carl, what would you do to solve for x? Divide by 2. And we get x equals negative 62. Alright. Deja, what would we do on number 2? Multiply by 5. What do we get for x? Negative 10. Very good. Alright, number 3. That was the tricky one. Keon, what do we do?
Okay, so you put 1 under 25.
Okay.
And then times by the reciprocal.
So what's the reciprocal?
3/5, negative 3/5.
Very good. Negative 3/5. So we're going to multiply both sides by negative 3/5. Hard to squeeze it in there. Alright, when we multiply 25 by negative 3/5, what do we get? Negative 75 over 5. Okay, what does it simplify to?
Negative 13 over 1.
Negative what?
13.
I think it should be 15, right? Negative 15. 15 times 5 would give us 75. That's a 5 down here. It's hard to see with the Doceri app over it. The product of 58 and the number n is 1. Ryan, what does the word product mean we should do?
We should multiply.
At first we multiply, okay, so you're thinking ahead. So we multiply 58 and our number n. You can use parentheses, you can use a dot, you can just put them right next to each other. The word is means we put what symbol? Equals 1. Nevaeh, how would we solve this? Okay, so we start out, box our variable, split it up, but what operation do we use to undo multiplication? We divide. So we're going to divide both sides by 58. On the left, those reduce to 1. So we just have 1n. 1 over 58, or 1 divided by 58. Does that come out to a whole number? No, just leave it as a fraction. 1 over 58. Don't turn it into some crazy decimal. I don't want anything rounded. That's more work anyway. Just leave it alone. Okay. If it divides nicely, or if it comes out to like a half or a 0.5 or a fourth, 0.25, that's fine. But most of the time I'm totally okay with you just leaving fractions alone. Alright, the next one. Houston, the word quotient means we will start off with what operation? Division. With division, our order matters. So the quotient of the number b and 4, we have to go in order. B divided by 4. Again, the word is means we set it equal to 8. If you want to use a traditional division symbol, one of those, you can. I just like to use a fraction bar. All right, Adrian, what are we going to do to undo division? Multiplication. So we are going to multiply both sides by what? By 4. Wonderful. On the left side, those reduce to 1. We are left with b equals 32. All right, this one gets a little bit trickier. Does anyone remember from when we did these before what operation the word of implies? Multiplication. So 3/4 of a number h means 3/4 times h. So if you want to write yourself a note that is telling us to multiply. 3/4 h is, again, still means equal 192. Natalie, what are we going to do to get h by itself? Yes, in a sense, but yesterday when we talked about doing this with fractions, what did we end up really doing? We don't divide by fractions, what do we do instead? Multiply by the... Very good. What's the reciprocal? Perfect. So we didn't talk about it as division yesterday, but Natalie is correct. Dividing by 3/4 is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. That's where that whole rule came from. On the left, 4/4 and 3/3, that all cancels out to 1. So we just have h equals... Keon, what'd you get? 768 over 3. All right, that should reduce down. So what is 768 divided by 3? What is it? 256. So our final answer would be that h equals 256. Again, when you're up here multiplying the fractions together, if you would like to cross cancel, you can. The 3 should go into 192, but if you don't cross cancel, it's not a big deal. Once again, our numbers are getting a little larger, so having a calculator might be handy. All right, it's time for all the popsicle sticks to go back in the cup without me dropping them all on the floor. Okay, half of the number a is 5. Does anyone want to raise their hand and remind me what half means I should do? Well, you didn't raise your hand, but you are correct. It means we should divide by... Well, if you cut something in half, you're dividing it by... 2, or you could think about it as multiplying it by 1/2. But taking half of something, cutting it in half, means you're dividing it into 2 pieces. So half of the number a means we're taking a and dividing it by 2. Still is means equals. Set it equal to -5. Next, we box our variable. We split our equation up. Nevaeh, what do we do to both sides now?
We divide.
We're already dividing. Good. We multiply by 2. -5 times 2 is -10. All right. The perimeter of a square parking lot is 480 meters. How long is each side? Okay. All right, on these ones, again, if you need a picture, it might help. A square means it's got four sides that are all the same length. I don't know what any of the sides are, so I'm just going to label them all with X's. I can only do that because I know they're all the same. If you use a different variable, that's fine. If you need to see it written out, for perimeter we add them all together, set it equal to the perimeter. So in this case, 4x or 4p, 4a, whatever your variable is, equals 480. And then towards the very beginning of this problem, Keon said, can't we just divide? Well, yes, we are going to divide both sides by 4. Can't see that over there. So we end up with x equals 120. We should put our units on there of meters. So each side is 120 meters. All right, on number 6, Luis ate 4 of the 8 slices of pizza. He paid $3.60 for his share of the cost. How much did the whole pizza cost? So if Luis ate 4 out of 8 pieces, we could write 4/8, but we know that that reduces down to 1/2. So he ate half of the pizza. We don't know how much the whole pizza cost, but we know that half of the cost was $3.60. So half of the cost of the pizza was $3.60 because that's how much Luis paid. In order to solve that, we need to multiply both sides by 2. And we get that the cost of the pizza would be $7.20. On number 7, a restaurant charges $2.50 for 1/8 of a pie. At this rate, how much does the restaurant charge for the whole pie? Alright, so 1/8 of the pie is $2.50. To figure out the cost of the whole pie, we are going to multiply both sides by 8. So P, or the pie, is going to be $20. If we take $2.50 times 8, we would end up with 20. So $20 for a pie. Last one, number 8. How many oranges averaging 0.25 kilograms each are included in a 50 kilogram shipment of oranges? So they are 0.25 kilograms per orange. I'm going to use an R. And we've got a 50 kilogram shipment. So we divide both sides by 0.25. Again, a calculator is going to come in handy here. We are going to end up with 200 oranges.